Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 101. I am your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're excited to have with us the creative team of Bigfoot Knows Karate, Dan Price and Casey Allen. Dan and Casey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, man, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, it's like the title says it all, and we're gonna jump in and we're gonna talk about it, but I gotta say congratulations in advance for having such an amazing storyline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So looking at it, so it's like, Dan, this was like kind of a project that you were having basically with your Latex Avenger and your Masters of the Oblivious. What was it?
Originally, it was supposed to be a comedy set in that world. Latex Avenger was my first book that I did. He has a sidekick named Spermicidal Fumwad. They repel crime 99.9% of the time. Very juvenile stuff, but it was what it was for the time of my life. Masters of the Obvious, I did that later on, and that was a PG version of Latex Avenger, but it was a sci-fi space parody. They flew around in a flying toaster through space called the USS Screensaver. You had Dr. Biclops, the Visible Woman. You can't miss the Visible Woman. Dr. Biclops had two eyes. You know, that kind of thing. They fought the My Little Jabronis and the Puggalos, and it was crazy. So Bigfoot Knows Karate was going to fit beautifully into that world.
Right.
But then things change, you know. I mean, I'd gotten out of comics. I was raised in a family at the time, and there were other things going on in my life. And, you know, here we are like 7 years later. It was time to do something different. It was just time to do something different. And so Bigfoot is like nothing like those satire parody books that I was doing previously. This is hardcore action adventure, you know, Godzilla meets Kong versus Kill Bill. Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill. You know what I mean? There's a bit of horror going on it. There's a bit of the mystical going on in there. And like, you know, what's in a name? That's where it all started. What's in a name, right? And kind of expounded on that concept. Didn't want to do anything trite. And, you know, so I was working on some ideas. Casey's been talking to me for years. You got to do something with this concept. And there was the only person that I could think of who was going to, you know, herd the cat properly, so to speak, me being the cat, was going to be Casey. So I had to get him in here, and he's been keeping my mind straight ever since. Thank you, Casey.
So Casey, how did you? So you jumped in, and you're also, you work with, like, was it Voodoo Chil'e?
Voodoo Child.
Voodoo Child. Okay.
Just so happened to have a copy of that right here. Voodoo Child comic is a comic I'm doing currently with Pete Woods, who is not the Pete Woods from Iron Man and all the other stuff, but Pete Woods from England, who is my Pete Woods, and he is awesome. It's like a horror voodoo heist comic set in Vietnam, and I actually met Dan through a group called the Comic Jam.
Okay.
And the Comic Jam is an online workshop that pairs artists and writers together. Once a week, we collaborate on one-page stories. So a writer has a week to do his one-page story, and at the end of the week, I'll pair that script up to an artist, and they get a month to do it because it takes a little bit longer to do the art.
Right.
And then we'll letter it, and then we post it up on thecomicjam.com. It's a great way to build up your portfolio and meet people who are like-minded and want to do the same thing that you're doing. It's so hard to find your tribe when you do something as such a tiny community as comics. I never thought that comics would be something that would be available to me. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, or 30 minutes outside of Birmingham, Alabama. I pass cows on the way to my house. I never thought that comics would be something that I could do, because it's either New York or LA, and everything in between is just a void, or so I thought. And then, you know, the internet happened. And so that's how I met the people that I'm collaborating with. And Dan, I met him via the Comic Jam. I saw his work on Instagram. I thought it was fantastic. He joined the jam for a little while, did some really amazing pieces with us. And ever since, I just thought he was the greatest dude ever. And it's one thing to
go ahead, man.
meet.
You keep telling me I'm great. Go ahead.
It's one thing to meet and acknowledge like somebody that is good at their craft, but to also find out that that person is a good person. It's a good, decent human being. That's who you want to work with. You could be the best artist on the planet. You could be the best writer on the planet. If you're a jerk, nobody wants to be around you. So this is where the utility of the Comic Jam comes in, because you meet these people, you get to know them, and I try to keep it clean, try to keep everybody. I try to make sure everyone is nice and not a jerk. I'm watching my language. So we don't run into any issues. And so far, it's been a wealth of good people, and Dan is one of those people.
I was going to say,
Casey,
go ahead.
Real
Sorry,
quick, I just want to say, Casey. I mean, look, Casey's the nicest guy in comics. Okay, period. End of story. It's but he is. I mean, look, he takes everybody from the Comic Jam under his wing, and because he runs that show, and and is encouraging people when they need help. Will give ideas and advice and that sort of thing when they need it. It's pretty fantastic. Oh, cool. He's pulling it up. And what has been great about Casey is, when I walked away from comics several years ago and it was time to dip my toes back in the water, the jam totally allowed me to come in and do a few pieces. Casey and I got to work on a couple together, and it was that comfort level there is translated into a couple of years of us not working together, and still keeping in contact with each other. And then, Casey, you moving? Oh, there you are. Okay. You were so frozen for a second.
Oh,
but no, we didn't keep in contact for a while, or we kept in contact. We weren't working together, but I couldn't think of anybody better to work with on this, because we talk on the phone, 2-3 times a week, probably.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bigfoot or otherwise, just talking about our kids, our jobs, whatever. So it's pretty fantastic. It's a good working relationship for sure.
Now, is the Comic Jam, is this something that's like a membership thing, or how does this work? So
basically, like, we use Discord to communicate. And if find us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and I'll kind of give you a boilerplate message, explain what we do, how we do it, and if you're into it and I see that you're not a jerk, because I totally I will get on there and I will spy on you on your feed and make sure you're not somebody that I wouldn't want talking to my children. Then I'll send you an invite, because we had somebody who was really just a solid artist. But I got on his Twitter feed, and he was just a nasty person, and I did not want that in my life. And as an adult, that's one thing. As I get older, I'm like, life's too short to work with people who are negative and nasty. So that guy didn't get an invite, but most of the time. Yeah. And we're open to all skill levels. We want to teach people how to do this stuff. Follow your passion.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's how the two of you met, is through Comic Jam.
Yeah, I did a thing about space sharks. I got a piece of art.
That was amazing.
What's his name? Sam Silveri, I think his name was, the writer. If I got that right.
Mississippi. Yeah.
Yeah, is he? Okay. Yeah. I got this amazing piece of the script. It was space sharks attacking this spaceship. I'm like, I want to draw this so badly. You have no idea. And Drew, I mean, and look, in the Austin Powers point of view, I had to give them lasers coming off their heads because every shark needs lasers, right? So that was my own little personal joke on that comic, but it was fun. And
it was slick.
It was fun. And then Casey and I worked on a Steve Ditko tribute. When Ditko passed away, we did a Steve Ditko tribute piece that was that kind of. You ever seen that fake Jack Kirby design for Spider-Man? Have you ever seen that piece of artwork that somebody was passing around a few years back?
It's nuts. He had a web gun and he had like the cuffed boots that
Kirby, yeah,
like Kirby style cuffed boots, like the big like piratey boots.
So, but Kirby drew the Amazing Fantasy 15 comic cover, so we went with the idea of what if Kirby was originally supposed to draw the Spider-Man comic, and then the notes said this isn't working. Let's get Steve on the job, and that was we kind of reworked that first sequence of that's it.
Okay,
that's it, and that's the artwork that's the design we used for Spider-Man in that Amazing Fantasy 15 kind of workup that we did, and it was a great piece. It was a lot of fun. Casey wrote a hell of a piece on that one.
Oh, wow. So the two of you, as you're saying earlier, Dan, Casey was bugging you about Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Mm-hmm.
And to a point now, how long ago was that? Was this about a year or so ago? Was this?
No, it started in 2018.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, this started in 2018. I started doing the sketches for him, because I came up with the idea around 2015, somewhere around there.
Right.
And then did the sketches 2017, 2018, and started posting those on Instagram. And then and then you got to do something with the book. He said that. A few other people said that. Christopher Speck, a bunch of folks were telling me I got to do something with it. And then my wife said to me in December of 2020, she said to me, it's time for you to do another book. Look, the kids are getting older. You've taken a lot of time away from this stuff. You love doing it. Why don't you go ahead and do another create your own book? And I'd been doing some stuff for Halloween Man and Guano Guy Comics and a couple of other things. And it was like, okay, but I'm not going back to the well. No Latex Avenger, no Masters of the Obvious. I did the thing for Stan Lee Foundation that I own the copyright to, but this is something new, Bigfoot, And like I said, I mean, it's action, it's adventure, it's got a little bit of horror, a lot of psychological stuff going on in it. It's and there's some funny moments too. I mean, look, I write comedies, historically, so there's going to be some funny stuff in it, but it's over the top. Everything's very over the top. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the preview pages or not, but so it starts off, the concept in the first issue, it's called Bigfoot Knows Karate, Hunter Prey. And we really examine the concept of anybody can be a hunter and anybody can be a prey at any given time. So really trying to bring a different vibe to the artwork. There's a lot of realism in comics these days. Hey, great. That's awesome if you're into it. Me personally, I want to see something outside, like fantastical. I want to see something that's different, that the artwork evokes a mood that goes with the story, and we're not just, moving a camera around. I really want this to be the artwork to be reflective of what's happening in the story as we're going. So.
And so when you put this together, so you have a 7-page preview that's available that people can see at any time. Now your Kickstarter is coming out
October 13th.
October 13th. Okay. And it's going to be a 28-page
30. We've upped it. Yeah, Casey, laugh. Y'all. We were going through and pacing out some things here recently, and and I said, and I was like, we gotta extend the book. I don't want to extend the book, but we got to extend the book. I don't want to extend the book, but we got to extend the book. And so he agreed we needed to extend the book. So there was too many things happening right on top of each other. We just needed a little breathing room. We both agreed. And so 6 more pages to go, to finish drawing it. So but that's our commitment to everybody on Kickstarter. This book will be done before it goes to Kickstarter. Period.
Okay. And do you have, for that? So how did it work between the two of you, Casey? So you kind of pushed Dan to do this. Now, what was your of your duty as the co-writer, how did that banter work? Who did what with the script?
So here, it's the most unique way I've ever written a script before, because normally I'm very I'm not precious with my scripts. Like if my artist sees something, they're drawing the page. They know what they're doing. You have to trust your artist. But I've never had such a fully collaborative script writing process. See, my initial goal when I came onto this project, I was just going to edit. And Dan really wanted a hand in the writing process. And I said, well, what do you have? And he sends me this file, and it's this fully realized story. And he had the breakdowns, like the basic plot completely down. And then I just did the breakdowns and kind of added some dialogue, pass it to him. He looked at it and said, I don't know if, can I say a character's name?
Yeah, have fun.
I don't know if Kung Fu Thulu would talk like this. So we'll be on a phone call, and we'll seriously talk for an hour about how would a Kung Fu Thulu talk, and we'll go through that, and he'll throw some stuff down, and we'll go back and forth on it, and then we have those pages written, and I wouldn't be able to do this with someone that I didn't trust, because this is one of those things where, as a writer, somebody who is only a writer, I'm not like Dan. I can draw stick men. That's it. I can barely play the drums behind me. I have nothing else. But so when it comes to writing, I want to make sure that what I'm doing isn't bad. And so I have to trust Dan, and I totally trust Dan. So we're tossing back and forth, and the whole goal is to get the most rad book into your hand. I'm watching my language. The most rad book in your hands, at the, by the time this book ships. And we're getting there. Oh my gosh. When I write, I'll put notes in for Dan. And occasionally I will say, blip, 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 make this happen. Deal with it, art boy. And the other day,
deal with it, art boy. That's the note I get.
the other day, when we decided we needed a few more pages to make the story happen, Dan ended the call with, "Deal with it, writer boy." So
yeah,
it's fun. We're having a blast, and
having a blast.
Seriously, also I saw him delete a GIF live while we were editing the thing. I was walking my dog in the yard, and I put this really disturbing GIF of somebody getting their eye like hurt, because it was story centric. It had there was a point to it, but it was from the Fellini film from like the 50s. I can't think of the name of it.
8.5?
No, an 8.5. It was the one that he collaborated with Mustache Dude.
Oh, Mustache Dude, Dolly,
Salvador Dali.
Yeah, Salvador Dali. Yeah. Mustache Dude. Everybody likes him. He has an aardvark.
You got Salvador Dali and you got Handlebar Pete. Which one's it going to be?
Yeah. So I think it's that film, but he somebody gets their eyeball sliced open with a razor, and I put that in the script, and it was too disturbing for Dan, and he erased it in front of me.
It had been in there for weeks. I couldn't handle it anymore. This GIF over and over again, and this eyeball is getting sliced. I couldn't handle it anymore. Man.
We were pouring over the page, and he was like, "You know what? To heck with this!" Bloop. And then I just saw it disappear into the ether. I was like, "All right, All right.
God bless Google Docs, man. It's a collaborative effort. So, and it's a collaborative effort, this project. I mean, because as much as I'm sticking my nose in where the artist or where the writing is, he's helping me out, giving me ideas for the artwork and things like that. And so it's going really well. I mean, it's been a really just easygoing working relationship, and I couldn't have asked for anything better than that. But yeah, I do want to say something that we do have a Cthulhu in the comic, so that is a very big part of the comic, because there's a very nice big fat slugfest between Bigfoot Knows Karate and Kung Fu Thulu. So we're gonna have a good time with that for sure.
But that's not a surprise, because I see that on some fan
it's on some of the artwork. The
artwork. Yeah,
it's just not in the preview artwork, because I think that's where Casey was coming from. So there's a lot. Go ahead.
It's funny. So Dan kept drawing the Bigfoot character, and he's like, I'm putting a story together. I was like, well, if you're gonna do a comic with a Bigfoot, man, you gotta throw another cryptid in there, maybe a Kung Fu Thulu. And he was like, the next day, he had this guy designed. I was like, holy crap.
It's brilliant. Kung Fu Thulu is an amazing name for a character. I couldn't wait to get my hands on that.
I love a good portmanteau. Awesome. So,
and do you? So Dan and Casey, with Voodoo Child and Dan with your Latex Avenger and Masters of the Oblivious.
Oblivious would have been better though, actually, but obvious.
Did you both put in any Easter eggs for your readers that knew your other stuff at all?
No.
Yeah, this is Bigfoot Knows Karate. All on its own. Yeah. For me, everything that I had done previously was so rooted in pop culture, was so rooted in jokes, movie quotes, things like that. Hell, I wrote a play several years ago that was written entirely in movie quotes from beginning to end. Like, I love that type of stuff. I did. It performed at the Austin Fringe Festival here in Austin. It was a lot of fun. But that's not the point. I mean, but everything I've done for so long was pop culture, movie quotes, things like that. Not here. This one will stand on its own. 20 years from now, you're not going to know what an Oppa Gungam style is, and you're not going to need to know that to read this book. You know what I mean? And now I am doing a crossover with I don't know if you're familiar with a comic book called Halloween Man by Drew Edwards. But Drew is he and I are doing a Halloween Man meets Latex Avenger crossover that's going to be coming out next year. And that one actually has a really big old shiny Easter egg for people who really knew Latex Avenger. My old art partner on Latex Avenger, Bon Adami, who was a great guy, wonderful person. He passed away a few years ago. And the artist on the crossover, he in panel 1, page 2, there's Bond sitting there drawing, looking annoyed at Latex Avenger and Spermsoft Foam, just looking at him like, because as Bond would have looked at anyone else. So there's going to be some Easter eggs there, but this is just purely the story.
So how much of the conversations that the two of you have had to create this book one, Hunter and Prey, what's the meta plot for this? Is there going to be, because you call it book one, what's the idea? I'm sure the two of you have been talking.
Yeah, we got 5 issues of glory about to be drop on the universe. I mean, how do you want to approach this, Casey? Because we got a lot of kid gloves with this stuff. So go ahead.
On the outset, without giving much away, it sounds just like a slugfest, and issue 1 certainly lives up to that. But there's layers to it. There's more to it, because we don't just want an angry Bigfoot going around just whooping up on people. And so there's a deeper story to it. And it has a lot to do with destiny. It has a lot to do with who you are and who you want to be. It has a lot to do with just with kind of making the best of your current situation. So that's where we're at. And book one is definitely on the refusal of the call spectrum of the hero cycle. If you're versed in your Campbell, but it's been a whole lot of fun to write, and probably as a guy who is currently writing a zombie comic that is based in Vietnam, this might be the bloodiest comic I've ever written. But and I will occasionally get notes like, all right, is this too much? And he'll type back, more gore. So I'm like, okay, cool.
I'm not into horror movies or anything like that. I'm just couldn't care less. But when I'm drawing this particular book, let's go over the top and have as much fun with this as we possibly can. And one thing that Casey didn't mention, this is kind of a good image to talk about when I'm saying this, isolationism. Bigfoot has been isolated from existence for, who's seen a Bigfoot? I've never seen a Bigfoot. You ever seen a Bigfoot? No, you've never seen a Bigfoot. Nobody's ever seen a Bigfoot, and if you roamed the world all these years and never had a interaction with somebody, never had the feeling of the touch of a loved one, never had even a small conversation about how's the weather, how would that affect you? And I think that plays very deeply into our Bigfoot's personality and psyche. I mean, that there's a feeling of needing to be accepted, of some acceptance there that he's going to find along the way, but it's going to take a while to get there.
Now, from a world building perspective, is there any backstory on this that's going to be revealed on how Bigfoot knows karate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah. As we both nod our head. Because it's true. He is, and he's gonna. Karate. Taekwondo. The man knows his stuff. It's beyond. Right. It's just beyond one discipline. It's beyond. This is a comic you think you know what it is walking in the door, but it's nothing like that comic. And it's the comic that you've always wanted that you never knew you needed. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's my salesmanship right there for you. Hey, come on down and get some snake oil, boys. No, it's not quite like that, but it is. It's going to be a fun ride, but it's going to be a lot deeper than I think people are expecting.
And are you going to have is there other cryptids involved in it later too?
We'll sprinkle a couple of it in here or there. I think they'll be showing up. What do you think, Case?
We got plans, man. We got plans.
Yeah, we do.
All right. You don't have anything like Chupacabra does yoga or anything like that, or?
I don't think they're all going to be, this meets that type of thing. Okay. Yankee, what is it? A Jersey Devil that does shiatsu massage. That's probably not going to happen.
Chupacabra lives in Ojai. He's happy. He's settled down. He's putting all that stuff behind him. All the goat sucking is behind him, and he's just.
Did he retire in Ojai, California?
Exactly. He deals crystals, the good kind, and he wants people to heal and be relaxed and just chill on good vibes. Hilarious.
So a question for the listeners and the viewers that might be looking at something like this and doing, maybe doing a project with a colleague or a friend. Did the two of you sit down and actually say, hey, listen, I know we've known each other for a few years, but let's write up a contract on this? Or did that happen at all? Or
Yes, that's something that we're actually finishing that stuff out, but we've got our terms worked out in what we're doing. So, and look, honestly, and that's no offense to Casey or to me, but he's my friend. I want it to stay that way. You know what I mean? Casey, you jump in here anytime you want on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
part of the discussion.
It was one of those things where I just, in terms of like writing contracts, this is something that I've so long done as a hobby. I was really hesitant at first to want to sign a contract, but the way that he explained it, it was just, CYA all around. And I completely understand that. And I want, I like Dan. I want Dan to be my friend. And I want, all this to have like barriers and, expectations set into place. So I know what to do. He knows what to do. And then that way we don't, nobody gets on anybody's nerves.
And we all got into doing this stuff. Barney, you'll agree with this because we love it, right? I mean, that's why we do it. But, look, fruits of the labor, you'd like to see some of them. Okay. And I'd like to see, it's a Kickstarter comic book. I mean, first issue, who knows how it's really going to do, right? But if there's an opportunity for Casey to make some money, I want Casey to make some money. I mean, we're in Casey, you're in your late 30s. I'm in my mid 40s. We're all too old to be working for free. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like my friends and I, we have a kind of running rule with each other. I'm a graphic designer, and they'll ask me, hey, Dan, can you take headshots for me and clean them up for my, for my acting stuff, or can you design a logo for me or do it? Sure. We'll work out a barter trade sometimes, but most of the time we pay each other because, maybe a nice friends rate or something like that, but we pay each other because we're adults, and that's what adults do is they pay for the things that they purchase. And that's just kind of my attitude. We're just too old to be working for free. I want Casey to make a couple of bucks in this. I mean, hopefully we make a couple of bucks, but I think we all agree that let's just get the book out there and see what happens. But, at least we got Kickstarter. At least we have a really strong distribution model that we're going to be able to take advantage of during a time where there's a pandemic and you can't go set up a show after show after show safely right now, Right. And frankly, Kickstarter is a stronger distribution arm than I could have going to shows here in Texas, or Casey could have going to shows in Alabama. There's no flights, there's no hotel costs, there's no food. We have no overhead doing it this way. I want to get back to doing some shows sometime, because I haven't done a comic show since 2014 or something. But this gives us a good entrance back in. Gives me a good entrance, him an entrance, whatever, back into the indie comics universe, basically. And hopefully people will pick up on the comic and enjoy it, and we'll have some fun making issue 2, 3, 4, and 5, and see where it takes. We've got a nice little out at the end if we want to make issue 6, we've got a way to do that. But it's, I just want to get through this story arc because I think once you read it, you're going to be like, oh, hell, this is really neat. I was trying to watch my language, Casey. I almost blew it right there.
Hey folks, I just wanted to take a quick break and say thank you so much for listening and watching Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. If you can, please subscribe. If you can, hit the like button. Go ahead and leave a review on your favorite podcast app that you might be listening to this on. And remember, always, always support local artists, support local writers, support independent creators. It sure does mean a lot to them. And we will be here at Storycomic to make sure that their voices are being heard. Thank you. So talk about the Kickstarter. What can your backers expect from it?
This is live right now, right, Barney?
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Okay. Okay. I talked about it. We're going to talk about the deluxe edition, Casey. I want to go ahead and
let's get into
that down. Okay, so we're doing 3 issues, 3 covers for the book, or 2 covers and a deluxe edition. So there'll be the regular edition artwork by myself, or the cover artwork by myself. Then Matthew Skillern over at Skillful Studios on Instagram is doing the variant cover. I think I showed you that one, Barney, a moment ago.
Right.
And then before we got started, and then the third edition is going to be a deluxe edition. I'm doing the artwork for that cover as well. But the 32-page books, 30 pages of story plus 2 pages because you have to do comics in 4 pages. We'll do that original, those are regular editions, and then the 44-page deluxe edition.
Wow.
And that's going to have the 30-page story in there, plus fan art gallery, plus some sketches that I've done, plus the special ingredient that we're really excited about. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell them about it now, Casey, because
an exclusive, a story exclusive. Wow.
Yeah. So we're doing we're gonna do a director's commentary in the book.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
And what it's gonna be, or reader's commentary, or however you want to call it, creator's commentary. We're going to have a QR code in the book where you scan that QR code that will take you to a private video that'll have myself, Casey, and a few other amazing people on a roundtable discussion walking through the book page by page.
Oh,
We've been so secretive about how we're going to do, what the storyline is, and we're both dying to talk about it. But I was in a podcast last night. So what's his real name? Hey, I'm not talking about that. Hey, so what about that? I'm not talking about that. And he must have gotten ticked at me a couple of times because I'm like, but really, so we're going to do this director's commentary concept. So we'll talk about it page by page. We'll talk about what inspired this, what inspired that, where we're going with this and where we're going with that. Because once you read the end of the first issue, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to go, oh my God. Or you're going to go, oh my God. It's gonna be one or the other,
We're hoping for the second.
Yeah, we're hoping for the second. But it's going to be a really fun, this is going to be a fun ride, I think. I think people are going to enjoy what we're doing.
Right. So, any discussions, any plans on, because I know with, a lot of Kickstarters now are feeling with the fulfillment of shipping delays. Some of them are cutting off international shipping. Is there anything that you've had the two of you kind of had to tweak a bit with expectation of any challenges with shipping at all?
No T-shirts overseas.
Yeah.
That's the big one. No T-shirts overseas. We're going to do a limited edition T-shirt. Josh Flower, the artwork was actually in the fan art gallery. Josh Flower did an amazing piece of Bigfoot. So we worked out an arrangement with him to be able to do that piece of artwork as a shirt. So, but the regular, everything else will be able to fit in a Gemini mailer, basically. So that should go pretty easy. Okay. Just the T-shirt thing is going to be the hardest thing to do internationally, but we got to get stuff internationally because I've got people in, out in Australia who are ready for copies of this stuff. So we got to do it.
Yeah. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah. So slap a Bigfoot Knows Karate logo under his chin there, and that's pretty much what you got going on a shirt. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful work. I've known Josh for years. He used to be an artist for Overgrown Comics, and that's we met through a mutual friend, and couldn't have been cooler. This is actually, that last one was actually the first piece of, or actually the second piece of fan art I got. I was so blown away when that came in. The first one came in in 2018. But and when somebody sent me one, I was like, but then this one came in, and then another, and then another, and then another.
And it's all in their style. It's not trying to ape Dan's style, and I love it. I love that it's so different.
Oh yeah. No, I love that. I had a gentleman contact me recently. Excuse me, asking about he's like, hey, so how did you get all that fan art? Did you are you paying them to do that? Or are you doing this? Or are you doing that? It's like, look, dude, I'm going to give you the straight answer that you're not going to want. I don't know. All right. I came, put out the drawings. People started sending them back, and it was, and I can't tell you enough. I'm humbled by the amount of artwork that's come in. And not just the amount of it, just the fact that somebody took the time out of their lives away from their projects, their families, their kids, whatever, their jobs to draw Bigfoot Knows Karate. That's incredible to me, and so it was, I'm just blown away by it. Every day, every time a new piece comes in, or I just flip through my Instagram feed or go through the Bigfoot Knows Karate hashtag on Instagram and just look through that, I'm always like, man, that's insane. That's just insane.
So a bit about from the art perspective of it, did you, when you started sketching it out, was there, how much of tweaks did you do when actually making it, like making sure it had, he had the bare chest, or his outfit was orange, or how did that work?
It really, I mean, there wasn't a lot of variations. Once I got the idea of what the art style was going to look like,
Right.
the costume came quickly. I didn't have that happened really fast, and I did not have I didn't really have a whole lot of variations of it, honestly. Now, one thing that will happen throughout the series is that's the very first sketch, as it says there in the title, very first sketch. The one thing that will happen in the story is like how fluid that we're being with the story. Bigfoot is fluid too. It's not like, you finish an episode of Superman and then we go back and start over the next thing. One thing, he got hurt in the last issue and he's just fine in the next one,
That's
damage counts. Damage counts here. Okay. So there's going to be several things that will change about Bigfoot as we go through the story for sure.
I had to ask Dan specifically. I said, hey man, is it okay if I do this and this stays throughout, at least into the next issue? Because there's my dude. Love him. But and Dan was like, yeah. If he gets hurt, he's gonna stay hurt. So yeah, we were. Dan was very adamant that, there are consequences to what happens in this story, and so poor Bigfoot is going to get his ass beat, but he is also going to reciprocate. Sorry for the A word.
I need to add more art to this thing. I've got a bunch more to add to this as I'm looking through it.
It's wild how much fan art is sent in.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it is all fantastic.
It is.
And so I guess also too, the point is like this. What were some of the inspirations? Like, say for instance, if what's your elevator pitch? If other than the fact that people can see the title, what would you?
What's the elevator pitch? I'm sorry, I just kind of got stumbled on my thoughts. A gentle cryptid warrior lives in a world where anybody can be a hunter and everyone can be the prey. Bigfoot Knows Karate is a confluence of, Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill. Right. I mean, I think that, you've got this meets that, and you're kind of an overview of what the story is. But I mean, really, this is the hardest part about this whole process, Barney, is being able to actually explain what the story is without revealing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's been the hardest part. Look, I'm used to doing one-shot comedy comics, where my hero gets his butt kicked in every single issue and comes off looking like a jerk. This is different. There's ramifications to everything that happens, and so help me, Casey.
Well, I've had such a blast talking to Dan about all this stuff, because we go into such esoteric territory, talking about this to nail the story down, and everything. It's not just, a hairy dude beating up other things. There are consequences. There are really, really large stakes, and it's one of those things that there's a little bit of a cult, in so much as like the Hellboy film had a cult in it, like a little bit of that.
Oh, not a cult, a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I got you.
Sorry, my southern accent sometimes tramples over my tongue.
Me up right now. I couldn't understand what you're saying. So.
But yeah, there's a little bit of that, and there's also a almost like a strange like business aspect that Dan wanted to put in, and I was like, okay. When he explained where he wanted to go with this, he he dropped the Kill Bill reference, and I said, "Okay, I'm listening now. What exactly do you mean?" And he broke it down, and
Tread lightly, young Alan. Tread lightly.
yeah. So I've just been running with that and having a blast with it. I love Tarantino. I love the Kill Bill films, and I really enjoy going into that territory. A lot less feet stuff than Tarantino normally has, which is creepy. Even though the character's name is Bigfoot, there's karate kicks, and that's it. That's all we're going with the feet. So,
so let me ask you, Casey, how much of a relief or a challenge was it to write somebody's own, like somebody else's ideas?
it's terrifying. What are you talking about? Because the expectation of, if it were anybody else, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Because the expectation a lot of times of what people have in their head versus what can feasibly fit onto a page and feasibly go in, into a sequential art. Movies can't be films. There can be film adaptations. You can adapt anything to a comic form, but it's never going to be the initial idea that you had, unless the initial idea was a comic.
Right.
Comic adaptations, sometimes they're good, and you'll see them and you'll go, oh well, they left that out, and you have to think, oh well, they left that out because it's the same kind of thing when you adapt somebody else's idea sometimes. And it's not because that idea wouldn't work. It's just you get somebody else's idea and you have to fit it into the mold of what you can feasibly accomplish. With Dan, there wasn't really any barriers because Dan knows his stuff. Dan knows comics. Dan knows how to write comics. Dan knows how to draw comics. Dan knows, I keep talking about Dan. Dan knows what a comic should look like on a page. So when he came to me with the idea, when he showed me the Google Drive with all the crap written down, he just I said, hey man, you got to get a story together. Show me what you have. He was like, I have the story. And he sent it to me. I was like, holy crap. It's all here. So it was super easy for me to come in and kind of break that down, make it fit, and kind of turn it into a comic because everything was already there. Otherwise, but to be going back to earlier, I was terrified at first. Right. I was like, what did I get myself into? And then I saw what he had already done. It's like, oh, okay, I feel way better now.
And so, Dan, what about you, for the fact that you've classically, as you said, was writing more comedic stuff? How much of a leap was this for you to write something that was more serious?
How hard was that? Okay, well, I've written some other things as well outside of comics. Okay, so I've written, I've published short stories. I've written a novella, things like that. So I'm comfortable writing. Say what?
Playwright?
Yeah, I've written play. I've done a couple things. I've been around. But right. So I've been working on this book of short stories for a while. That is a major departure for me. And that it's called In Retrospect. It's a long story. And that took a very horrific turn. And so when I wrote that, I was like, okay, well, I can do it. I know I have it in me somehow to be able to pull together something a little bit more intense. So, but I've never written anything this expansive before. You know what I mean? That's why I needed Casey. I needed somebody who could keep all the strands together, because there's so much, it's like a frayed knot at this point. I needed somebody to get the rope back together in one nice piece. And and that's not, and he's done so much more than that. But at first it was like, okay, he was coming in as an editor and then he was coming up with these great ideas and, helping me plot out things. I'm like, dude, you just need to just co-write this with me, please.
It's been a blast. It really has been.
Oh, it's been awesome. But I feel bad for him because I'm a freaking control freak. Okay, like I am, and I don't know how you handle that, but you're doing it really well, at least from my perspective. So thank you.
Like if it, like I said earlier, if it were anybody else, it like I wouldn't be on this project, because the degree of trust I have in what you can do and what you can accomplish is it trumps any feels I have where I would be like, because I don't have a big ego, like, and I try to realize that in myself if I start going that way.
Mhm.
But when I write, sometimes I go like, hey, that's what I do. And writing this with a friend, it has been a lot of fun, and it's been a learning process for me. And just, it's been a fun collaboration. Like
I can't wait.
haven't gotten butthurt over anything. Like it's
Right.
all fun.
Yeah, give it time. Look, but it's but I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to 2 through 5. I'm really looking forward to working on those together. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I think Casey will be like, because I came to the table with a lot of stuff for the first issue. I think Casey's really going to be able to spread his wings a lot more in 2 through 5, for sure, because we're gonna. I mean, hopefully at some point we'll be able to get together face to face and be able to sit down for a couple of days and really plot out. How we're going to do, like, our big grand design of how we're going to pull this whole thing together. That'd be amazing. I keep telling them, come to Austin, we'll work by day, we'll go hit up the bars at night. We'll have some fun.
I was writing a little bit for 2 today, and I've just, I don't want to give anything away. There was something that I introduced into the story in 1 that I'm kind of carrying over into 2. And I've had so much fun doing it, because I think it makes it a little, it makes it a little different from what you would expect from like a punch 'em up comic. And it's just been a whole lot of fun doing that. And Dan, when I told Dan my idea in issue 1, he was completely on board, and it made me feel at home. It made me feel really comfortable to kind of pull out more ideas rather than just stick to like the program that he had kind of set forth. So
thank you for that, by the way. Seriously, thank you.
It's been fun, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I wanted, look, I mean, you're great. Whatever, you're great. So, sorry, Barney. Did you realize this was going to be some Casey Dan love fest? Anyway.
Well, so you said October 13th.
Yes.
Yeah. October 13th is going to be the launch of your Kickstarter for Bigfoot Knows Karate. And we've reached our hour mark. So thank you very much, Dan and Casey, for coming on the show, and come back on for issue 2. So,
absolutely. And we'll make sure to
5. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll make sure to when the book is completed and done, we're going to be sending out PDFs for reviews purposes and stuff like that. We'll make sure to get you one of those for sure. And if you're interested in a physical copy, just let me know. I'll get one in the mail to you. So
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And thanks again. And thanks again for chatting with us, guys. This has been great. It's been a learning experience, and I've been really excited to see what happens in the story now.
Barney, I've had a blast, man.
Yeah, it's been great, Barney. Thank you so much for having us.
You guys, before we go, check out the Comic Jam. Check out Dan's Instagram, Danomite. It is, I mean, it's basically where the well from which this whole thing sprang from. And then BigfootKnowsKarate.com.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Danomite 139, Robots Eat Guitar for Casey. That's both of our Instagrams and Twitters. I'm Danomite 139, and he's Robots Eat Guitar on Twitter and Instagram as well. Also, check out Voodoo Child is still on Kickstarter. So
yeah, issue 2 is on Kickstarter now.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
So
and all that stuff and all your links are through BigfootKnowsKarate.com as well.
Yes, so you can find links to everything there.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, guys, and look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank
Barney. Enjoy your evening, man. Thank you so much for having us
Take it easy, sir.
All right, here we go.
About
All
knocked
right.
over my banjo.
You got a banjo? You play the banjo
I
too?
got banjo, and there's a bass upstairs. I got a 12-string and a few other random things. I have an accordion over there. So
as
theremin.
a theremin.
dude, I really want a theremin. So bad.
So as Casey, as the writer of Bigfoot Knows, are you also the one that's in charge of the soundtrack to Bigfoot Knows Karate?
Well, we're co-writing this, and like this is pretty much like his conception completely, and I came on later on. But as far as soundtrack goes, I don't know. I think we're pretty much on the same page, Dan and I, for the most part.
Are we live now already?
Yeah, let me do the intro. That was
okay. Yeah, I was just gonna keep just rattling away, but yeah.
Here we go.